everyone, it is Juice here. I am currently streaming right now at twitch.tv/JuiceChanYT. There's a crap rave. And I wanted to quickly make a opinion piece on what I think about Wuthering Waves and is it worth the hype or not. This will just be a quick video. So, for starters, is it worth the hype? Like, TLDR? I think yes, however, it does have its issues. So, the combat's really good, it's fluid, it's smooth, it's excellent, and I think that I really like the character designs and kind of their 3D models. It's all very nice, and it's really cool to have a gacha game that has such like a nice clean art style like this, because it really does feel also like the first true competitor to Genshin in terms of its world design, because just look around you. This is a very, very beautiful place. They really did invest a lot into the world budget for this place. I really like the visual aspect. It's genuinely, it's a gorgeous game. It's a gorgeous game. So on that aspect, 10 out of 10. Literally look around you, you can see the quality oozing out of this game. And with combat, it is pretty much like a 10 out of 10. Seriously, I have no complaints in regards to that. It's smooth, it's complex is one thing, and it has a high skill ceiling. Like, even if I go in now into this weekly boss here, spoilers by the way, you can skip this part if you don't want to be spoiled of the weekly boss if you're paying attention to the story. It's all very nice, and the boss fights themselves, they feel dynamic, they're engaging, they're cool. I think my only qualm is that in the future these boss fights might feel just like a tad bit long to farm when you just want to farm daily. However, it might get to a stage where whenever we get in the end game and we power up more, that it's going to be a lot quicker to do our end game farming and to sort out things like this. You can see how interesting this is. I think like the Pokemon mechanic is really cool. And we've already started up 240 like material, like resin type material, trailblaze power type material. That's quite good as well. And I like how in the overworld, when you kill echoes, you can absorb them. It means that there's actually incentive to go around killing overworld enemies if you so choose, and go shiny hunting and whatnot. And you can do it in co-op as well. So if you want to play with your friends and shiny hunt with your friends, or go echo hunting with your friends, there you go. There's a social aspect to it as well. So I think that people have... What can I say about the combat that has not been said already? It's really good. It's really good. We'll leave a domain for now. Now, I think my biggest gripe with this game, like as of now, there were performance issues. Like on day one, there were performance issues. But I'm going to praise Wuthering Waves because the developers have already tried to fix those performance issues. On day one, when I tried to stream, I was unlucky and I had to reset my stream like 5 times because the stream quality was too low. I kept getting frame drops and I had to reset the game and it just constantly bricked my PC. It was a very sour initial experience. However, I went off camera and continued to play the game on my iPad to get a more accurate feel for the game. And after doing that, I can honestly and safely say I ended up enjoying myself a lot more without all the performance issues. And today, I'm on stream right now. I've been streaming for about an hour and a half at this stage when I'm recording this, and they really have fixed the main issues I had with the performance. And I have a pretty good PC, so it's not even like I had a bad device that I was running it on, but they have fixed it, and there's been very minimal lag. Load time there, like there just was a load time right there. It wasn't half bad. It was a lot longer before. And I think that if they continue to make optimizations, I do hope they optimize mobile a bit more because I have a decent iPad, but it ran out of battery quite fast. I think if they optimize, then again, Genshin does that too. Like, they're large games. I think if they optimize it more, that'll be really helpful. But they're giving us a free 5-star, like literally a free 5-star, free of charge, no pulls required, just because the launch had those problems. I think that is adequate compensation, and I totally forgive the developers for that. I wasn't even mad at them in the first place, considering it's day one release. You know what I mean? It's like that sometimes. Not only have they done that, but they even gave us 10 free standard pulls, and they're giving us 10 limited pulls next to the free 5-star. Very generous game. I'll say that I really, I'm happy with the characters I've gotten so far. I want the Genshin, and I got Genshin. Very happy about that. And I also picked my Verena up, got really lucky with her, got her in my first 10 pull out of the 80, so that's really nice to see as well. So character-wise, I actually really like the art style, which I've, went over in detail about the graphics already, but just the characters, they're great, but the voice acting, visually, great, voice acting, not so great. I think my issue with the voice acting is that it lacks a bit of spunk. Some characters just don't sound right. Like, Ling Yang, he sounds a bit like Mika from Genshin Impact. That's not a problem. I like Mika's voice. It just doesn't really fit Ling Yang, in my opinion. I like Scar's voice, and I like Yang Yang's voice because it's very gentle, and it's nice to listen to. But even so, it can still be a little bit bad at times. I think that this is something that the voice actors will improve over time. They can improve the voice direction over time, and this is nothing that they cannot fix in the future. Like, you know what I mean? This is not a permanent problem for the game. And I believe that in future, as more characters come out, they will find their footing, and as their budget increases, they can also hire more high-end voice actors. But even so, I'm happy for all the voice casts that did get into Wuthering Waves, and I hope that they continue to improve their skills. I also think that Ji Yan's voice actor is quite good, though I haven't seen him a lot in the story yet. I've only heard over clips, so I hope to see that also improving. And the audio quality could be a little better, I'll admit, but it's not terrible. I think like a good example of a voice that I didn't like that much would be Chishia's. No shade to the voice actor, just personally, it didn't feel like a great performance. So that could be improved. Aside from that, story, I think the story is the weakest aspect of this game, because you get into the game and they just throw a lot at you at once. And I haven't finished the story completely yet, but from what I've played of it, I think the main issue I have with the Wuthering Waves story, they throw you into it, they throw a bunch of terms at you. To be honest, most gacha games are guilty of that. And they don't really give you a reason to care until like level 17, which I think is a bit crazy. In my case, I really liked when Jinchi came, and that was probably the first time when I got genuinely invested in the story, because we finally had a reason to care about the world and to care about what was going on. So that for that reason, I quite enjoyed that aspect of the story. Scar had some good moments, but I don't think it was like overly great. I think what we should have started with Jinchi. We should have gotten the stakes that she gave us up front at the beginning, and then the rest should have came later. Honestly, I think that was their biggest mistake, was throwing that at us just straight away. That was just a bad decision to like just throw us into the world, and we just kind of had to just figure it out. And then eventually Jinchi came. Now they said they're going to make all of the story parts skippable in the future. I don't know how I feel about that, because I feel like I would have skipped the Jinchi part if it weren't for the game making sure that I didn't, because I think that part should stay unskippable, because that was genuinely a good story aspect. I will say that I love the skip button for side quests. It's amazing. It saves me so much time, and I get quests done so much faster. It's actually funny because I skipped one of the cutscenes where I walked into the library and then Scar appeared and started fighting me, and I was like, huh, so this is why people say don't skip the cutscenes, right? In games, huh? Usually I do like story in games. I just do think that Wuthering Waves is a bit weak on that side. But it's nothing that can't be resolved. I do think in future, they can definitely improve upon this. Like, for starting, Kuro games, from what I know, story has never been their strong suit. They have always been more about the gameplay. So my advice is, if you want to get into Wuthering Waves, and if you're wondering if it's worth it, get into it for the combat first and foremost. Get into it for the exploration first and foremost. I think that in terms of exploration, I think it's okay. The visuals is what really carries exploration for me. The puzzles are fine. They're not like groundbreaking. They're nothing special, but they're not bad either. They're just fine, and that's okay. Like that's okay with me. More complex gameplay will eventually arrive, and as of now, in terms of just other mechanics like the UI, the wishing system, it's all very polished. It's very nice that we were able to get 5 stars so quickly, because after like only like a day of playing, we should all have our first standard 5-star now, and that's great, and that's really great to see. So on the whole, as of now, if you care for a numerical value, I would give Wuthering Waves like a 7.5 out of 10, because the story being a bit poor does cause me to hinder my enjoyment of it a bit. But that, like, the fact that, as someone who cares a lot about story, 7.5 is a high rating for a game that just has a really bad story. Like, and I don't mean to be too harsh on it, because it will get better, I'm sure of it. And even if it doesn't, the combat will carry. But, oh, that's so cool. Oh, wait a minute, she's eating her hair again. Anyways, but yeah, so, fairly, the world has potential to be charming. Like, look around you, this is very nice. But, yeah, and in terms of music, I really like the main Jinzhou area's music, but everywhere else, it's just okay. Like, it's good, but I would not say it's, like, like ground for like a reward or anything. It's just good music, but which is solid. Like I'm glad that the music is good. But this Jinzo area during the daytime has really nice music. I love it. I also do hope to see more like themed areas in the future. Because right now when you run around the place, there's not really a theme to anything. You just kind of get the vibe that it's post-apocalyptic. By themed, I mean like you can tell this is like a place that's based on China, right? Like clearly, you look around yourself and you look at the characters' names and such and professions and all. So I'd like to see more of that in the world. Aside from that, one last point of praise I'll give: they released a lot of map for the game's like initial launch. Good for them. And I also like that there is a lot of like different areas within the world. That's pretty cool. But going into the future, we'll see. As of now, if I'm going to keep playing the game, I'm going to play it for like another week or two, do the daily grind, and then I'm going to decide, am I going to play long term? But for now, I'm enjoying the game. So yeah, without further ado, I'll be continuing the stream now at twitch.tv/JuiceChanYT. And yeah, without further ado, this is me, Juice, signing out. And Donjin is best girl, and the worst part about this game is that they haven't given me her yet.